Hi folks, I'm Jesse Elaine, and today I would like to show you a very special and very effective left hand fretting hand stretching exercise for the guitar. So I've been a guitar teacher for close to 15 years, something like that, and in all my time of playing I haven't really come across many effective and easy to remember left hand stretching exercises, specifically targeting chord shift type playing, meaning going from one chord to another, as in like a chord progression. So the two that I've seen, one is kind of more of a classical style book called Kitharologus by Riccardo Isnaiola. That one we're not going to talk about. I think that one, my opinion on that one is it's a little too difficult to remember and a little bit less applicable than this particular one, for me at least. I encourage you to look that book up though. The other one is found in a book that I had never really heard of until recently. It's called the Howard Roberts Guitar Manual for Chord Melody. And this is just one example out of the book. This is not the whole book, obviously. But the example I just played for you in the beginning is actually really effective. And it will stretch out the muscles of the left hand really well. And it works with several different techniques that you should know as a guitar player. You should be comfortable with keeping what we call the inner voices of a chord the same, meaning they're not changing, but notes around them are changing. Like on the lower side, bass tones, and then on the higher side, your melody tones are changing and actually moving in what we call a contrary motion type of direction. Whereas the inner voices are what we would call static voices. They don't change. And I'll explain all this in a moment. But either way, again, for historical significance, and the fact that I don't want people to forget this particular exercise, and mainly the body of work left by Howard Roberts, famous jazz guitar player, but not that famous where he's one of those names that's thrown around too often, at least in my experience. So at any rate, look up Howard Roberts and find some of his recordings, and if you can, get some of these books. And if not, you can send me a message and I may be able to help you locate a place where you could buy one of these books. So anyway, let's start by looking at the chord shapes that Howard Roberts uses in this example. This is example 21 on page 16 of this book, by the way. And the way he describes it is as a stretching exercise with static interior voices and outer voices in contrary motion, just like we said before. So the first chord is actually really cool, and there's so many takeaways from this lesson and this book in general, and I'll kind of point them out as we go. First one is a G minor 9 in chord without a root in it, but he's assuming in this section that you are playing, or like you're playing with other musicians. So you'd have a bass player or a piano player and so on doing the lower notes here. So it's a really nice sounding chord. On the 5th fret, 5th string with your first finger, it's a D. And then on the 8th fret of the 4th string, it's a B flat with your 3rd finger. And then on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, you've got a D, another D, right? There's two Ds, and then finally the A on the 10th fret of the 2nd string with the pinky. So this is what the shape looks like. That's arpeggiated. Now again, remember this is a stretching exercise, but don't feel like you can't use that chord with a G bass playing underneath it. Not that you'd necessarily play it yourself, but that's what that would sound like. So Nice sound. Kind of like something like that, right? Which is our standard G minor 9 that a lot of people will play typically. So that's the first chord. So again, think about these two voices in the middle staying the same for the whole first set of changes, if you will. And then our other fingers, these two guys, moving around them. And we actually do end up changing some fingers also. So you get this G minor 9. And then what we do is we keep our second finger and third finger right where they are, but we move up this D to a D sharp, then we move this A to an A flat. So right now we're getting what sort of looks like an E flat major 7th suspended, you know, or raising that third. But really the bigger idea here is this stretching and this contraction of those outside voices. So they're getting closer, but they're actually getting further away because this one started on a D, goes up to a D sharp. This one started on an A, goes down to an A flat. Okay, that's that one. Then our next one is simply an E minor 7th flat 5. But don't really need to worry so much about the names of the chords in this particular exercise. He's really trying to get us to work with stretching technique, and that's what I'm kind of trying to do as well. So next one is, E minor 7 flat 5, first finger 7th fret 5th string, third finger 8th fret 4th string, second finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and fourth finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And then this is the final chord in this measure, and it's going to be F on the 5th string with the 2nd finger, B flat on the 4th string on the 8th fret with the 3rd finger, and then first finger is going to bar across the D and the F sharp on the 3rd and 2nd strings respectively on the 7th fret. Okay, so far you've got play an F sharp on the 5th string, 9th fret with the pinky, followed by he writes it as a B flat, we can call it an A sharp if we want, either way, on the 8th fret of the 4th string. Then we have a D on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and finally an F natural on the 2nd string, 6th fret. Chord kind of hurts a little bit, but in the context it makes sense. And then now what's going to happen is we're going to move outwards. So we've moved all the way inwards, and we're going to move outwards one here. So keeping the B flat and D as they were before the whole time, we're going to use our pinky on the 10th fret 5th string and our first finger on the 5th fret 2nd string, while having those two inside voices, the B flat and the D, in the middle. Static voices, as he says. So this is what we have so far. And then probably two of the more standard chord voices in the whole chord voicings in the tune. You get this C11 chord. Some people might call it a B flat over a C bass, whatever, doesn't really matter. And that fingering is going to be 3rd finger, 8th fret, 6th string, 4th finger, 8th fret, 4th string, 2nd finger, 7th fret, 3rd string, and 1st finger, 6th fret, 2nd string. And then all you do here, because this is the time we're actually going to do a slight alteration to the chord before we change to the next set of changes, or key if you will. And then we're going to keep our 3rd finger and 4th finger where they were. And then all we're going to do is put our 1st finger now on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and put our second finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string to get this nice C7, flat 9, flat 5. I like that chord, it's a nice sound. And then we're going to do that whole thing, but down a whole step. So this is where the real stretching starts, is when you're going to have this F minor 9, then we go up with the 1st finger, down with the 4th finger, up with the 1st finger, down with the 4th finger. Then we do this one where we trade fingers, and we have this nice chord. That's probably the biggest stretch of the tune. And then you're going to do this again, B flat 11, B flat 7, flat 9, flat 5, flat 9, and then finally this really cool, very dark sounding, rich sounding E flat minor 9. And how do we play the E flat minor 9? Well, it's pretty easy, like a standard minor 9 starting on the 5th string, but you're going to bar the B flat on the 6th string, 6th fret, also barring the 6th fret of the 5th string, E flat. Then our 1st finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the 4th string, 3rd finger, 6th fret, 3rd string, and the 4th finger, pinky finger, on the 6th fret of the 2nd string. Very nice sounding chord. So from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, well, keep practicing, have fun, and make sure to look up Howard Roberts. Thank you.